Hello there, this is Nightline. I'm Nakia Basharuddin and these are your headlines. Pulau Pinang to be the first state to utilize a facial detection system to track down criminals. China's Xi Jinping vows to bring Taiwan under Beijing's control. Pulau Pinang became the first state in the country to implement a facial recognition system in public spaces for criminal catching purposes. The cameras work in public spaces to detect and track down criminals in the streets. Pulau Pinang Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow launched the new CCTV system at the Tun Abdul Razak Complex Kumtar on Wednesday. He said the artificial intelligence technology, developed since 2008 with a collaboration with police, involved a cost of 12 million ringgit. The system employs big data analytics, Industry 4.0, and artificial intelligence to identify the face of individuals through a system linked with the police. For now, 767 cameras are linked up to a computer system. When individuals are identified, the system will run through their criminal records. The police will then be alerted if the system finds that an individual has been named as a wanted suspect.
It's all about algorithm and pattern tracking. So you need somebody to monitor the data. So there are experts who can do that. So they can see a pattern and they can prevent crime rather than look for the criminal after a crime has occurred. That is what's happening in other countries. So like the CM said just now, this is just the beginning. We need to have more CCTVs installed first of all. And then for me, we need to get experts to come in to decipher, to digest the data so that we can prevent the crime from happening.
Besides the police, the system is a collaboration with the Pulau Pinang Island City Council, the Seberang Perai Municipal Council.
I share the sentiments of the CM when he said just now perhaps it should be a national effort and where the cost incurred, perhaps it should be borne by the federal government, because this is an issue that actually comes under the purview of the police.
The state government hopes to increase the number of cameras to 3,000 units from time to time towards better crime prevention. The public are free to lodge complaints against those who break the law and maintains that these acts are in no way seditious. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said citizens can also speak freely on these matters and this would not be considered seditious. In his blog post on Wednesday, Tun Dr. Mahathir said among the most important objectives of Pakatan Harapan when it was trying to overthrow the Barisan Nasional government was the restoration of the rule of law. He accused former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak of ignoring the law when it suited him and said laws were instead abused in order to oppress the people. He explained that the basic law of Malaysia is the Constitution, a comprehensive body of laws which determines the legal structure of Malaysia from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to the rulers of the state to the federal and state governments and the bodies empowered to rule and enforce. All other laws, he said, are derived from the Constitution and that no law which in any way negates the Constitution may be promulgated. He said it was disturbing to see blatant breaches of the law being perpetrated in the mistaken belief that immunity has somehow been accorded. Tun Dr. Mahathir said, as such, public complaints against such actions are legitimate and do not breach any law. The East Coast Rail Link ECRL project, which was suspended last July, can be continued on a smaller scale if China agrees to do so. In a recent interview with Sinchu Daily, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the government is still in negotiations with China on the ECRL project and has not found any good solution to resolve this issue, but both parties did not set any deadline for this negotiation. Tun Dr. Mahathir stressed that the Malaysian government is facing a dilemma now. On one hand, if the country decided to terminate the project, government is required to make substantial amount of compensation. On the other hand, the government is facing financial difficulties in executing the project. Therefore, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the government may amend the project or seek other alternatives to avoid incurring high costs. If possible, he said, the government would like to continue the ECRL project, but added that the project was a waste of money with zero return. He said the government must manage its finances so that it's not wasting money. 5 representatives of the Petroleum Dealers Association of Malaysia, PDAM, met Tun Dr. Mahathir on their concern over the proposed weekly float of fuel prices on Wednesday. Its President, Datuk Khairul Anwar Abdul Aziz, and 4 other representatives met with the Prime Minister for about 45 minutes at Perdana Putra in Putrajaya before the latter chaired the weekly meeting of the Cabinet.
Kami dah jumpa dengan Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad pagi ini, habis pukul 9.30. We have discussed all our proposals and highlighted our concerns, and he seemed to be very understanding. No decision has been made yet. He is now just left for Cabinet, so we are looking forward to that lah. Tak ada apa-apa lagi saya boleh cakap until and after the decision is made by Cabinet.
Khairul Anwar told reporters that the meeting discussed the association's concerns and proposals on the issue, but did not elaborate further. PDAM had earlier asked the government to raise the fuel sale commission for fuel station operators to reduce any loss they might face due to the fuel price float. Tun Dr. Mahathir on Tuesday said that the government would make a decision on the proposed weekly float of fuel prices at the meeting of the Cabinet on Wednesday, after taking into account the views of fuel station operators. A total of 1,453 written warnings have been issued to individuals for disobeying a national smoking ban in eateries that was effectively enforced on Tuesday. Health Minister Datuk Sri Zulkifli Ahmad said 611 enforcement officers from the ministry were involved in the inspection of 2,786 eateries nationwide.
Pihak KKM pastinya akan meneruskan penguatkuasaan ini, khususnya dalam period pertama 6 bulan yang telah saya tegaskan semalam. Take ownership ataupun bertanggungjawab untuk secara kolektif, secara individu memastikan bahawa larangan merokok di tempat-tempat awam, khususnya tempat makan ini akan dapat dilaksanakan kalaupun tidak ada pegawai-pegawai penguatkuasa as a standing officer yang membuat pemantauan di tempat-tempat tertentu itu.
Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli said this at a press conference at the ministry's headquarters in Putrajaya on Wednesday. He said the response following the smoking ban is very encouraging, and there is a visible momentum displayed by the public through social media and in reality. He said the ministry has always respected smokers' rights, but advised them to smoke at appropriate places. This is in line with the government's aim to nurture a civilized culture among Malaysians. He said throughout the 6-month educational enforcement period, no punitive action will be taken against offenders, and only verbal warnings will be issued. He reiterated that there is no issuance of compounds during the first 6 months. Those found guilty of the offence of smoking in banned areas can be fined up to 10,000 ringgit or jailed up to 2 years under Regulation 11 of the Control of Tobacco Product Regulations 2004. The Malaysian Meteorological Department has issued an alert for the East Coast states, predicting strong winds and turbulent seas following Tropical Storm Pabuk currently moving across the South China Sea. Its Director General, Alui Bahari, said strong winds and rough seas with waves reaching up to 4.5 meters are expected to hit the waters of Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang until Saturday. The Met Department, in a statement on Wednesday, said that Tropical Storm Pabuk was located 612 kilometers away from Kuala Terengganu and 697 kilometers from Kota Baru. The public can log on to the Met Department's website or the My Cuaca mobile application to get the latest on the storm situation.
Kita telah pun mengeluarkan amaran cuaca peringkat waspada di Kelantan dan Terengganu untuk hari ini dan esok. Manakala untuk keadaan laut di perairan pantai Kelantan, Terengganu dan Pahang dijangkakan boleh mencapai ombak setinggi 3.5 hingga 4.5 meter dengan kelajuan angin 50 hingga 60 km sejam, dan keadaan perairan pantai kita agak berbahaya dan aktiviti pantai terutama di Kelantan dan Terengganu kalau boleh kita tidak lakukanlah.
Apart from strong winds and turbulent seas, residents of northern Terengganu and Kelantan have also been warned to brace themselves for possible flooding. Terengganu Civil Defence Force Director Lieutenant Kolche Adam A. Rahman said residents should make the necessary preparations for a possible deluge in their districts. The winds in some parts of the east coast are currently moving at a speed of 46 kilometers per hour, which is strong enough to cause trees to collapse. Wednesday's recount of votes for the Pulau Pinang Tasik Gluko parliamentary seat did not take place. Azlina Mehtab Muhammad Isha, the lawyer representing vanquished candidate Datuk Marzuki Yahya from Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, said the 136 copies of Form 14 of the particular seat will first be scrutinized by the lawyers for all parties involved. Form 14 is a document confirming the total number of votes candidates get at each polling station. She said this to the media at the High Court building in Georgetown, where the forms were taken in a briefcase. The seat was won by Barisan Nasional (BN) with a razor-thin margin in the 14th general election. Datuk Marzuki, who is the Deputy Foreign Minister, had filed the election petition to recount 689 spoilt votes and 297 unreturned votes for the seat. The election court had on December 21st allowed an application for a recount of votes in the seat after an election petition was filed by Datuk Marzuki, who lost to BN's Datuk Shabuddin Yahya by 81 votes. More after the breather. 3 million ringgit worth of firecrackers seized in a single home. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Education Ministry has assured that the teachers assigned to conduct Level 1 pupil assessments under the 21st Century Learning Method have the experience and skills to carry out the task. Education Director General Datuk Dr. Amin Sanin said in this regard, parents need not worry about the assessment system following the abolition of examinations for Level 1 pupils comprising Year 1, 2 and 3. He said the 21st Century Learning Method emphasizes on the implementation of student-centered learning through creative thinking, group learning, fostering cooperation, as well as communication skills. He added the teachers are familiar with the reporting method through the school-based assessment introduced since 2011. Education Minister Dr. Mazli Malik had earlier announced that examinations for Level 1 pupils would be abolished and replaced with a more objective assessment system from this year. In Pahang, despite being diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, Year 1 pupil Muhammad Hazim Hafifi Mat remained in high spirits as he joined his classmates at SK Sungai Isap Kuantan on Wednesday. Hazim could not stand up or walk for too long, but he was nevertheless eager to join his friends during assembly and participate in activities in class. According to his mother, Anissa Sidek, Hazim has been suffering from the disease since he was 9 months old. This after one of his kidneys failed to function properly. She said Hazim, the youngest of 7 siblings, started dialysis treatment at the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital HTAA Kuantan since he was 18 months old and has undergone 10 surgeries. Anissa said although Hazim knows that his body condition does not allow him to move actively like his friends, he still wanted to attend class. Hazim has also been asking his mother for several months about attending school. Even though Hazim would only be able to attend schools on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, as he was required to undergo dialysis on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, Anissa said as a mother, she is touched by his never-say-no attitude and will try her best to ensure that he would attend lessons and continues his studies just like the other children. The Perak Customs Department have seized 20 tons of firecrackers with a street value of 3 million ringgit at a house in Lahad. The seizure of the illegal items on December 27th was its biggest haul last year. At a media conference on Wednesday, State Customs Assistant Director Dato' Azimah Abdul Hamid said a 37-year-old man was also arrested during the operation. The double-story house is located at a guarded residence. Upon entering, the enforcement team found the entire ground floor filled with firecrackers. The case is still being investigated, but it is believed that it was for the New Year's Eve celebration and the upcoming Chinese New Year celebration.
Ini satu keunikan lah kita menangkap. Selalu kalau kita nak menangkap pun kita dalam kontena. Ini dalam rumah di tempat satu taman yang rumah mewah, ya, yang dimiliki oleh penghuni berkenaan lah, suspek berkenaan lah.
She said the suspect is being remanded for 8 days from the date of his arrest. The case is being investigated as possession of prohibited goods under the Customs Act 1967. Rapid Rail Sundaran Berhad is implementing a 2-loop system along the Kelana Jaya LRT line beginning Wednesday. The move is to ease congestion at peak hours. The system will see every third train travelling from the Gombak LRT station and making a loop at the Arah Damansara station and returning to Gombak from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on weekday mornings. The system is estimated to increase capacity by 3,000 commuters.
Bila mereka dapat train yang turn back, yang berpatah balik, masa menunggu kurang daripada 2 minit. Sebelum ni mereka terpaksa menunggu lebih daripada 3 minit.
Hari ini more linear lah. Selalunya kalau waktu-waktu sini dia peak hours. So kalau nak naik tu memang dia pack dengan tersumbat lah. So hari ni beza dia nampak orang tu kurang, yang lagi senang, yang lagi selesa tu masuk.
Untuk perjalanan hari ini smooth je lah untuk pagi ni. So saya rasa macam cuti hari ni sebab selalunya ke pagi kalau tak ada yang 7 yang tadi you cakap tu, sesak jugalah pergi pagi ni. Tapi alhamdulillah so far smooth untuk yang kita punya program baru, sistem baru ni, so far smooth jugalah.
With the two-loop system, it is expected to increase ridership to 30,000 in future. Manufacturing activity in Malaysia in December suffered the sharpest deterioration in manufacturing business conditions since the survey began 6.5 years ago. The Nikkei Malaysia Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) fell to 46.8 from 48.2 in November. A reading of above 50 indicates an expansion and below 50 points a contraction. IHS Markit, which compiles the survey, in a statement on Wednesday said harsher reductions in production and new business dragged the headline index deeper into negative territory in December. It said concerns over demand led companies to use existing stocks to clear backlogs and cut back input purchasing. It said that as a result, supply chain pressures alleviated while purchasing costs increased to a weaker extent. Nonetheless, it said confidence strengthened amid upbeat sales forecasts for 2019. IHS Markit economist Joseph Hayes said December data revealed the strongest contraction in the Malaysian manufacturing sector that has ever been recorded in the survey's 6.5-year history. Hayes added that negative readings of the PMI have been recorded across each month of the fourth quarter, signaling that the goods-producing sector is likely to heavily weigh on the final gross domestic product (GDP) print of 2018. He said demand fell markedly, while export orders dropped for the first time since June amid reports of economic weakness across the Asia-Pacific region. With production falling, Hayes said firms cut back stocks of inputs and finished goods, suggesting that prospects for the start of 2019 are likely to remain negative. Media Prima Digital Sdn Berhad's MPD unit, Rev Asia Holdings Sdn Berhad, has acquired a 25% stake in Monsterscape Sdn Berhad, the owner and publisher of Chinese-language social news portal Tantan News. As part of the deal, Rev Asia will be representing the online news portal as the exclusive advertising reselling partner. SGV Holdings Berhad has appointed Datuk Muhammad Hairul Abdul Hamid as its new Chief Financial Officer (CFO) effective Wednesday. The position was left vacant after Ahmad Tifli Muhammad Talha resigned October last year. AirAsia Group Berhad will focus on its businesses in Indonesia and the Philippines this year to make them very profitable. In Group Chief Executive Officer Tan Sri Tony Fernandez's latest post on Twitter confirmed that the group would not be opening any more new airlines in the next 3 years. UMW Holdings Berhad has commenced voluntary winding up of 4 of its subsidiaries under the unlisted oil and gas segment. The subsidiaries are UMW Coating Technologies, Tianjin PFP Shenzhen Piping Materials, UMW China Ventures, and UMW Offshore Investment. The ringgit extended its losses to close lower against the US dollar on Wednesday. This was due to several external economic uncertainties, prompting investors to shift their focus towards safe havens currencies. When we return, train accident kills at least 6 in Denmark. This and more. Don't go away.